The Oklahoma City Thunder have one roster spot left that they can fill up on a veteran minimum contract or another player that's looking for anywhere from like $4 to $8 million on a contract per year, since they do have their mid-level exception still to use. But they don't necessarily need to fill up this roster spot, as they already have the minimum number of players that you need on the roster before the start of the 2024-2025 season. But there are names that are interesting that I think could be a good fit. Also, some that I've read in an article, especially one that we're going to take a look at today, who was a former Thunder player, had a great season with the Thunder when he was on the squad just for a year, that I think could be a good fit for the Thunder. He might even be a great fit for us. Wouldn't get a lot of time, but it could be one of those emergencies where, like, okay, we just need someone to give us a spark. We need someone that can absolutely shoot the three ball and, add some size down low in the paint, rebounding wise. He could be a great fit for us, and we're going to talk about him today in an article that I saw talking about him as well. Before we get all this, though, I want to take a moment and say that we're at, almost 1,600 subscribers. Like I mentioned before, we have a subscriber goal of 2,000 before the start of the season. We're like 2.5 months away from the start of the season, so I know we got plenty of time. I know we can hit that. But if you guys like the content and you enjoy it and you find yourself coming back on a regular basis, it would mean the world if you guys could just hit that subscribe button. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and get into the video talking about Danilo Gallinari, who is a name we haven't really heard of in a long time. He had a little stint with Detroit at the start of the season. He was putting up decent numbers as well. But he's not someone that's really at the top of everyone's free agent list. He's not a name everyone's like salivating at the mouth to try to go get, like, oh my gosh, this makes us a championship contender. He's not really that kind of guy. It's just we do need some size in case injuries do happen, because we were blessed that we were, one of the healthiest teams in the NBA last season. Injuries are bound to happen, and we need to be able to prepare for that, so that way when it does happen, with whether it's a bench player or, God forbid, one of our starters, we have this backup option to kind of extend our depth chart a little bit. That way we're not going through a rough 10 to 15 game stretch where we're missing a player that could potentially put us in like a 4 or 5 seed, when really we should be the 1 seed this season. And then this article, it talked very well about Danilo Gallinari as well. When we go and look at this, a soft-spoken tweener forward who has made a career for himself as an offensive-oriented contributor, the 35-year-old is no stranger to the Thunder organization, as he played a key role during the club's 2019-2020 Cinderella story run to the 5th seed in the Western Conference standings, while posting averages of 18.7 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 1.9 assists on 40.5% shooting from distance. Now, 4 seasons and 1 ACL tear later, one should not expect the 17-year-old pro to be capable of putting up such production no matter where he opts to bring his talents in 2024-2025. That said, this past season, Gallinari proved that he's still capable of serving as a big-bodied presence, 6'10", 225 pounds, with a front court rotation who can help space the floor and log minimal playing time to help give others ahead of him on the depth chart much needed rest on the sidelines. So like I mentioned, he's not a guy that's going to be playing every night. He's not going to be like our 8th or 9th man in the rotation. He's just going to be a guy like, okay, clearly some guys need a break. They just need a game off. We might have, a game against a rebuilding team, like let's say we have a game against the Jazz or Pistons, someone along that caliber, even the Hornets as well, the Trailblazers, teams like that, where we just want to give some of our star players, some of our, better players a night off or two, give them some rest. Danilo Gallinari is a great option for that because he adds size. He adds three-point shooting. He adds a ton to the floor for us. He's a great floor spacer as well. We saw that when he played with us in OKC. He's a great pick-and-pop presence. He's a great three-point shooter. That's what he's really known for. He was one of the better three-point shooting power forwards in the league for a little bit there. So he's a great option for us. I think it's a perfect fit because, like I mentioned, he is not necessarily going to be playing every night. We need to get that, if you're like, that needs to be understood. He's not going to be playing every night. He's just a guy like, okay, he might play 30 games out of the year for us, but those 30 games are games when we need someone or two that needs a night off. They're clearly tired. They're drained. They don't have a lot of stamina left in them. They just need a game off. He would be a great option in that role. Like, okay, we just need someone to come in and fill in this spot on the depth chart. He wouldn't necessarily ever start for us, but coming off the bench, logging 12 to 14 minutes in a game where we have 2 or 3 guys resting, great option. He is, and there are other options as well out there, and it's kind of like a Mike Muscala replacement. Sure, Muscala didn't play a lot for us at all when he did join the team. However, Muscala's role was going to be a rebounding presence along with a great three-point shooter when we needed nights off because we were prepping in case there were injuries. Luckily, none happened last season. We were a very healthy team. But we need to go ahead and prepare for that this season because injuries are bound to happen, whether it's something small or something major. We need to prep for that, and Gallinari would be a perfect replacement for that kind of role, especially when you look at the stats here. Look at Gallinari's stats. Last year, he averaged 6 points a game, 2 rebounds, and assist. Defensively, he's not really there, but we don't need him for a defensive presence. We need him for veteran leadership, scoring, and rebounding, and he can get the job done with that at 6'10". Less than a turnover a game, a foul a game, 43% shooting from the field. Down here on the three-point shot, 32%. However, I know he can still hit it. I know. And, the stats aren't all that fancy. He's not a big name. I get that. It's just he is a great depth option for us, especially when we have one roster spot left to use. When we have that last spot and we need someone to fill in that 15th man spot there, he'd be a great option. Great option, veteran minimum guy as well. It's not like it's going to break the salary books at all. But he shot 55% on corner threes, 86% of his threes are assisted, and 49% of all his shots are three-pointers. What we would probably do, we'd have him sit in the corner offensively, set screens for him to get open if we are trying to run a play through him, if we need a quick three. Or have defenders crash down in the paint, kick it out to him because we are a team that likes to drive a ton. Now, he is old, 35 years old. We get that. He's an older guy. He's about to be 36. It's probably going to be his last season or two in the NBA. And I wouldn't mind Gallinari retiring with the Thunder. He had a great season with us. Now, it wouldn't be necessarily the team that he's known to be this kind of player for. I wouldn't mind it, though. I wouldn't mind if he came here and retired with us, kind of like this is my last season, going to try to get a ring. He brings value. He brings three-point shot, and he brings rebounding. He brings veteran leadership off the bench and, kind of help develop some of our guys as well. He can also be a good developmental piece for a guy like Jay Will or Ousmane Dieng as well. When you look at it, I see Jay Will's style of play a little bit similar to Gallinari. Not completely, but there are parts of their game where I'm kind of like, okay, reminds me a ton, a little bit about them. They're not very mobile guys on the floor. They're not going to be beating you off the dribble with insane speed or anything like that, but they're good three-point shooters, and, they have, their IQ is very nice. They have high IQ. Ousmane Dieng, it might, help him develop his three-point shot a little bit more and become more of a presence rebounding-wise. And so he could be a good guy to kind of develop some of our younger guys as well and be like, hey, this is what you need to improve on, and then sign them to some team-friendly deals as soon as they are eligible for extensions, which can extend our dynasty. He'd be there as a mentor and a guy to fill in depth when we have guys out for injury or just to give them a night off and rest. Some other options, though, that are like that. JaVale McGee was someone that was mentioned in the article. The article is on Thunder's Intentions, so if you guys want to go check that out. JaVale McGee was listed as a name. He's not necessarily a three-point shooter. Good big man, all right, good center. Rebounds the ball well. I just don't know if he really fits in our style of play. And then Robert Covington, who is also a name I kind of like as well. I haven't heard a lot about him in previous years. I do know he had a good little stint with Philadelphia, if I remember correctly, a few years back. He was a good player. I just don't know what he's doing right now. I haven't really kept up with him. I didn't keep up with much of Danilo Gallinari either. I just know from watching Thunder basketball in previous years, I know what his game was like, and I saw little bits of shades of that when I saw him play a little bit this season as well. So it's just those two options, Robert Covington and Danilo Gallinari, I think would be the best options if we're trying to fill in this last roster spot we have. JaVale McGee is an interesting name because it helps out rebounding-wise and size-wise. It's just, I don't know developmental-wise what it's going to help out with some of our guys, that veteran leadership, and what he can bring offensively for us. I think Danilo Gallinari would be the perfect fit for that veteran leadership to help develop a guy like Jay Will or Ousmane Dieng as well. And then also, if we need some depth late in the season, or we have a guy or two taking a night off, we just need someone to come in and fill this power forward spot for us, I think he would be a great option off the bench in those regards to just give us 30 games throughout the season. Just give us 30 games, give our guys some rest. He'd be a great option. But I'm interested in what you guys think. Leave it down in the comment section below if you guys, would bring back Gallinari on a veteran minimum here just to kind of be this developmental guy for some of our younger guys here on the squad and, be that guy like, okay, load management. Let's say Dub and Chet need a night off. J. Will has to go in the starting lineup along with Caruso. That means Dylan Jones is going to get more minutes, and then Danilo Gallinari will get a few as well. Would you guys be interested in that, or is there someone else that you think would be the better fit on this Thunder squad in those regards? Let me down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.